So first of all, questions about DEI, and there was an expose done by Christopher Rufo from the Manhattan Institute, and he did FSU, UF, USF, UCF, and FI. I think he did those 5. And some of the programs they have violate civil rights laws. They are racially discriminatory. And that has no place in the state of Florida. So that opens up, I think, a different can of worms. Some of the other DEI, which is basically just trying to impose ideology, you're not going to get funding for that, and you're not going to be allowed to do it. So there'll be a funding component where there could be funding penalties, and there also could be additional statutory penalties. But look, this DEI. This is not the way to go. This really sprouted just in the last couple years, all of a sudden, and it needs to just be removed. And we need to treat everybody equally. And equality of opportunity is what this country is about. That no matter where you start, you can potentially end up doing good if you work hard and all that. There should be no artificial barriers. That's what we want to work to break down. That's why we have school choice. That's why we do a lot of things. That's why the First Lady does her Pathway to Prosperity initiative, because we really believe in that. But when they start talking about equity, what they really mean is ideology, and they mean that they are imposing some type of social engineering about what the outcomes should be. And the implications for it, I think, are really, really problematic. I mean, you have some of these elite medical schools are getting rid of the MCAT. You have some other elite schools getting rid of the standardized test for undergraduate because they see the U.S. Supreme Court is going to nix racial preferences and university admissions, which is the appropriate ruling. So they're going to basically take out those mechanisms so they can still engineer behind the scenes. And my view is just, I want to know, like, if you go in, like, you need like a neurosurgeon, do you want that person to have been there based on merit, or do you want them based on there because they check some box in some DEI program? That is not good for anybody involved. So I think that this is important. Texas is following suit with what we're doing. I think you're probably going to see a lot of other states do something similar that have similar philosophical bent in the leadership. But it all goes back to the central issue of these are publicly funded institutions. They don't just get to do whatever they want. I think there's people that have criticized what we're doing with New College or some of these others, and their basic view is the elections don't matter. That you can win a massive landslide, and yet you still have no ability to have set the mission statement for major institutions that are publicly funded, and that just can't be the case. I mean, there's got to be accountability for any publicly funded institution, and so we're doing that with the trustees, we're doing that through the legislature, but we want the mission to not be about the social engineering, to not be about ideology. We want the mission to be about rigor, pursuit of truth, and we want students to have a foundation so that they can think for themselves. When they actually are challenged, when their assumptions are challenged, their minds are sharper. When you have groupthink like you have at some of these elite schools, they get out, assumptions have never been challenged, and I don't think they end up performing quite as good as they do. So